Good evening and welcome to BQ Prime. The top story, I must say, one of the top stories today evening is that 2000 rupee note will be withdrawn from circulation. I'm using exactly the words the RBI is using. I'm not stepping beyond. There is no need to panic. There's plenty of time. If you're holding 2000 rupee notes, you can go to your bank or go to any bank on Tuesday, that's the 23rd. You can either deposit them or you can exchange them and get fewer denominations. But there are interesting uh, observations that are coming up. Questions are coming up. Why is the RBI doing this? What does this mean? In the backdrop of what happened in 2016, Twitterati is agog with all kinds of things. But then we need to, as responsible journalists, put this in perspective. Now, who better than Mr. Garg, former Finance Secretary, who can clarify all these questions? Mr. Garg, thank you so much for joining us. My first question, does this remind you of the good old times?
I think it's a continuum. The story for the demonetization, which brought in the rupee 2000 note, was it took place before I came into the system in 2017. But RBI governor was the Secretary Economic Affairs. So for him, this is a culmination of the process which started in 2016 and is now ending as far as the rupee 2000 note is concerned. So I take it as the process which was, 2000 rupees note was actually it came handy in 2016 when you demonetized 500 and 1000 rupees note on the argument that this is a higher denomination currency note,
Right,
which is susceptible to be used for sort of storing black money and those kind of things. That was the reason. And there was another reason, that those notes had security features which were not that robust and were probably more susceptible to being faked by other unfriendly nations and all. So that was the reason. So 2000 rupees note came handy. I don't know, this is public knowledge, that before 2016, at one point in time, RBI had actually proposed that we should bring 2000, 5000, 10,000 rupees note, because Indian note value, if you take it, is very small. 500 rupees note is only about $6-7. 1000 rupees is only about $12-13. How much value you can buy with this kind of note? And therefore, but a view was taken, which to my mind is not an incorrect view, that 1000 rupees note needed to be withdrawn. But it was ironical that you used a higher denomination note to remonetize the economy, right? So 2000 note was brought in as a kind of safety wall, or to use as an escape arrangement. It was never intended to be kept for long into the system. And that is the reason, very soon after it served its purpose, it would have stopped being printed. And over the last few years, it has increasingly got withdrawn from the system. Now, less than 45% of the originally printed notes are into the system, and they are also getting phased out slowly. RBI has, by taking this measure today, only expedited the process, that let us complete this, because this note is not to be used. It's not being used much. And that is so, I think it's a continuum, but more than continuum, it is the culmination of the story of rupees 2000 note.
Okay, now we are coming to the end of the story of rupees 2000 note. Before I get into the technicalities of this, how much would be, what would be the notes in circulation? What would be the size? Is it 3 lakh crore or 3.5 lakh crore? What is your assessment?
I have not read the statement, but I noted on the news in circulation that it's about 3.25 lakh crores worth of note which are left out. from the original about 670 or 675 lakh crores. I roughly use the number at 7 lakh crores, which was printed, and roughly about 3 lakh crores, which are remaining. So more than 55% is already stands withdrawn. The rest is now going to be sort of out of the circulation very soon.
Right. So you rightly put it into perspective. The ordinary common Indian will not be suffering because of this. It's only those who hold 2000 rupee notes who will be worried about this. So the question is this a move? Did RBI sense something in terms of black money? Is this a move to curb black money also? Unstated intention?
I don't think that's the objective at all. I don't think anyone need to be worried about at all. It's strange that even when the big demonetization was carried out, even then 99% plus money came back. So even that did not worry our people. People found ways to put back or get the money in cash. Now, this is only about 10% or so of the currency in circulation, larger in denomination, and therefore much smaller number of notes, actual notes in numbers are in circulation. And the time given is so much, 4 months plus, even there, legal status has not been withdrawn. So this is not at all demonetization. This is nothing of that sort. It is simply withdrawing, or as I said, expediting the process of withdrawal, which is going on for the last 5 months, 5 years or 6 years.
Right. The timing is what prompted me to ask this question, because it's come soon after the Karnataka elections. I'm sure I don't know how to put this in perspective, whether it's the timing question. How would you look at the timing question, or am I reading too much into this?
I think you're reading too much into it. My sense, and since I was in the system for a couple of years, the government the Prime Minister never intended this to remain in circulation. So it was to be brought out of the circulation as soon as possible. And we did prepare in 2018-19 by printing 500 rupees note in much larger quantities than usually we do it, because this was to be used for replacing the rupees 2000 note. You can't, at that point of time, if we take the currency in circulation in 2019 or so, of about 16-17 lakh crores, 7 lakh crores of the value constituted a big bulk. You can't withdraw it. You have to have replacing currency in your possession. So you first need to print more notes. But that has happened now.
Correct.
Now, of 31 lakh crores of currency in circulation, if this is only about 3.25 lakh crores odd, it's about 10%. The rest of the currency is the workhorse, which is doing what the job it is required to be done. In the meantime, lots of digital payments have also expanded massively. Absolutely. 97% by value is now transacted by digital means. So using or the necessity of 2000 rupees as a currency note is very, very low, very small. So whoever is holding this, my sense is not very small people with small transactions are using it. And therefore, for them, whoever is holding, it's very easy to just put back into the account and then take a replacing currency if it is required. And even replacing or exchanging it across the counter is not going to be very difficult. You can do it as many days. This restriction of 20,000 rupees in one time is more for administrative purposes. I don't think there is anything else into it. You can probably do it 10 times if you have that much kind of thing. And you don't have to give any identity, you don't have to give any proof of holding, etc. So this is, honestly, this should be a non-event. Right. But unfortunately, since we have a background, we have a legacy, and we associate whatever this government does with the demonetization. That is why some people probably still think that this is intended to get black money. Even that big demonetization measure did not get the black money out. From the black money point of view, this was a utter failure. It did take out the fake currency. It did affect the terrorist activities. There were positive outcomes of that demonetization exercise. But as far as black money was concerned, there was no impact.
No. Okay.
So I don't think this is the purpose at all.
Right. Agreed. I agree on that very important point. The next question is, this clarity on legal tender. See, even after withdrawing this, what happens after September 30 if somebody is holding 2000? Will it continue to be legal tender or will it not continue to be legal tender? Because I don't think RBI has clarified on that.
See, unless the government issues a notification declaring very clearly that such and such notes of such and such series is declared non-legal tender henceforth, that note which is issued continues to be in a legal tender. And what has been issued today by the RBI, it's not even issued by the government. So the authority to demonetize or take the legal tender out is that of the government, not that of the RBI. So even if after September the 30th, if somebody is holding, then it still remains legal tender, unless, of course, on 30th of September, the government comes up with another notification saying that henceforth it is not a legal tender. Right. So until a fresh notification to that effect comes, even after 30th of September, in my judgment, this will continue to be legal tender. But see, notes circulate based on the trust. Right. So if the government says, even without notification being issued, that this will not be allowed to circulate, a lot of people will not find that note particularly acceptable. And slowly that becomes a de facto non-legal tender. Though in law, that might continue to be a legal tender. But my sense is by the time we come to the 30th of September, probably 99% of these notes would have already come back to the RBI. And when the note has come back to the RBI, even if it is legal tender, it doesn't circulate. It has no function.
Right. So that's very clear. I will go back to your earlier answer where you alluded to the point that the value of India's currency notes is very low. Now, considering the value of the dollar or pound or whatever, I'll go with dollar. Do you think RBI will bring back 5,000 rupee notes in some form? Is it required?
I don't think in this regime there is any chance, because the sensitivities involved of the government and the Prime Minister, that any possibility of any higher denomination notes being brought in. We have 1 year of the tenure remaining, so there is absolutely no chance. If you get a repeat tenure, even then, I don't think anybody would, because this sometimes some things become like very touchy issues, or you have sensitivities. So at this moment, I don't see any possibility of a higher denomination note. Forget 5,000. Even 2,000 is being withdrawn. Otherwise, we would have simply reprinted those notes. 2,000 is a legal tender. We have printed more of these notes. So if 2,000 rupees note was to be allowed to be circulated, likewise 1,000 rupees note can be brought 6 years back. Inflation is already 50-60% since 2000. So the 1,000 rupees of today would be about 600 rupees of 2016. Or 500 rupees of 2016 would be about 250 or 300 rupees of today. So even that has lost value. Even from these principles, there is a justification for raising the maximum denomination of the note. But I don't think anything is going to happen on this front.
Very, very clearly, because of the popularity of UPI and digital payments, I think maybe the RBI would look at expanding digital currency to address this problem, or is that a separate basket? That
see, digital currency is expanding all over the world. The digital is the future mode of currency, and we are also doing very well. UPI has done well. We have some little bit confused policy about the credit card uses, etc. And therefore, credit card uses in the country is much smaller than you see it in the rest of the world, especially the developed world. But times to come, the digital currency is the mode. So cash would even otherwise phase out slowly, slowly. The growth of currency in circulation in India has not slowed down very much. Though last year it's only about 8% or so, but in COVID first year there was a larger expansion of currency.
Yeah.
But if you look at the long term, next 5 years or next 10 years, I think the currency expansion will dwindle to 2% or 3%, maybe at some point in time this will start reducing. So future is not the cash currency.
Okay, on that note, I think I should remind viewers that there is nothing to panic. Very, very clear that for the common citizen, the UPI payments are there. Today, we don't even see 10 rupee notes. We don't know how it looks like. And as Mr. Garg says, moving away from cash, cash is not the king, digital currency is. Mr. Garg, thank you so much for clarifying
Thank you
all
very
the points.
much. Thank you. My pleasure.